So you've decided that you want to start a new adventure and move to the United Kingdom. Personally, I have been in your shoes before and I know it can be overwhelming to know where to start this whole process. But after watching this video, you don't have to worry anymore because I'm going to cover every single step from deciding to move all the way to arriving in the United Kingdom. So just keep watching. You have made the decision that you want to move, so the first step is to figure out if you need a visa. This is going to depend on which country you are from, if you already have any ties with the United Kingdom, and also how long you want to stay and if you want to work or not. After taking all of that in consideration, if you do need a visa, you need to figure out what type of visa you need. And personally, I would recommend having 3 months of prep time because for some visas, you need quite a bit of documentation and different certificates to prove different things. So it can be quite time consuming to get all of that information together first. So 3 months should give you enough time to do all of the prep work, and then you can finally submit your visa application. Once you've submitted the visa application, there's going to be a period where you'll just have to wait and see if you actually get the visa or not. But there's still a lot of other things to figure out before you move, so it's actually good that you have that extra time now. If you don't have a job offer in the UK yet and you're planning to stay there long term, now is the time to start applying for jobs. The reason why I would wait to do this after applying for the visa is that most companies will ask if you have the rights to work in the UK if you are not a UK citizen. So having proof that you've already applied for a visa goes a long way in actually just getting an interview. Personally, I noticed a major difference in the amount of responses that I was getting before versus after my visa application. So remember to update your CV and mention on there if you are a UK citizen or which visa you expect to have. If you need a little bit more help to find a job here in the UK, I've created a whole video with all of my tips from my personal experience. So I will link that down below and then you can check that video out. If you are open to move to anywhere in the United Kingdom, you're obviously going to have a lot more job opportunities to look at. So I would recommend getting the job first, and then depending on where that job is located, that will determine to which town or city you are actually moving to. Once you know where in the UK you are going to be living, you need to decide if you are going to rent an Airbnb first for a few months, or are you just going to go straight for it and try and rent an apartment. So what we did was to stay in an Airbnb first. This also allowed us some time to get used to the area and figure out if we actually like the area or not before committing to a long-term contract to stay somewhere. I've also made a whole video about finding a house or apartment here in the UK, so again, I will link that down below for you. Now that you know where you are going and you kind of know where you're going to be staying, it's time to think about how you're going to get your belongings in the UK. Obviously, you are going to have limited things that you can take on the airplane, so you might have to look into shipping things in a container. I would only recommend doing this if you are planning to stay in the UK for at least more than a year and a half, because this is quite a big expense. If you at first just want to try out the UK and see if you like it or not, or maybe you just want to do some exploring, it might be cheaper for you to just keep your things in storage in the country where you are from. But if you are planning to stay in the UK for a couple of years, it's definitely worth it to then bring as much over as possible. If you are going ahead with shipping things, at this stage I would just get in touch with companies to get quotes. I wouldn't actually ship things out just yet, but it's good to get the ball rolling on that so that you already have someone once you get to the point where you actually have to ship things. Also, you don't want to start shipping things before you actually have your visa because you never know what might happen. Speaking of the visa, enough time should have passed by now to be able to collect your visa and to have that final confirmation that you are actually moving to the United Kingdom. The visa application center will usually send you an email that your passport is ready to collect, and as soon as you have that stamp of approval, I would definitely start booking flights. With some of the visas, once you actually get the final confirmation, you only have a certain amount of days before you have to leave the country, otherwise that visa won't be valid anymore. So book those flights as soon as possible, and then you also need to get back in touch with the company that you are doing your shipment through and start packing. Obviously, you can put most of the house things in the container, but also try to include some of your clothes, especially your heavy winter clothes like jackets, boots. You want to avoid taking these things on the plane because obviously that's just going to take up unnecessary space. The next step is optional, but one I would definitely recommend, and that is having a going away party. You are starting a new chapter in your life, which is really exciting and obviously something that you need to celebrate, but it's also a good opportunity to say goodbye to some people that you might not be able to see for a few months or years. So it's just a nice opportunity to create some last memories with everyone back in your home country. We are getting close to the flight now, so you need to start packing your airplane luggage. And also look into opening an online bank account so that you have one when you arrive in the UK, so that you don't have to keep using your current bank account and pay all those international fees. It's been a long journey, but you have finally made it. You have arrived in the UK. And although you want to start exploring as soon as possible, there are also a few admin things to consider once you arrive in the country. Firstly, get a SIM card as soon as possible. I would just recommend getting one at the airport. You can get a prepaid one, you don't have to commit to any contract. And getting a pay-as-you-go SIM card is quite affordable, and it just saves you having to worry about connecting to some public Wi-Fi the whole time. If you have a visa that allows you to stay in the UK for longer than 6 months, you're probably going to have to collect your biometric residence permit as well. That visa that you applied for was just a temporary visa. So the document that actually proves that I'm allowed to legally be here and work here is my biometric residence permit. This permit will be sent to the postal office that is the closest to the address that you used when you applied for your visa, and you will be notified when that is ready to be collected. Another important admin task is registering for your national insurance number. A national insurance number is only needed if you're going to work in the UK, and you can apply online. You will probably be contacted for an in-person appointment. I'm not sure if that has changed since COVID, and maybe everything is done online now, but I applied and then I had an appointment slot. The appointment was super quick. They asked me really basic questions, and then a few weeks later I received a letter in the post with my national insurance number. Once you have this, remember to also pass it on to your employer. One last thing you need to register for is the National Health Service, or the NHS. This is the public medical services here in the UK. If you have a long-term visa, you probably paid to use this, so definitely register and make the most of it. To register, you will have to go to one of your nearest GPs, and you can probably find online a bunch of documents that you'll have to complete for the registration, and then you'll have to go to the GP practice and hand that in. But definitely check out if that specific practice has any rules for registration. Especially during COVID, a lot of practices have only a certain amount of people that they can take every week, and they only take registrations during a certain time of the day. So just make sure that you check out all of that information for the GP practice that you choose. Some final things to consider. If you decided to go for the Airbnb option, you'll probably have to start looking for some apartments or houses now. You also need to arrange for your shipment container to be delivered, and also determine if you will need to put that in storage for a while or if you already have a house to move it into. And you might also be thinking about getting a car, but one thing that I will mention about getting a car is that the car insurance here is extremely expensive. So if you have some good public transport options, you might want to skip out on the car. Now that the list of admin things is out of the way, you can finally just enjoy your life here in the UK, and I hope you're going to have an amazing experience. Again, I know the whole journey can be a lot to go through, but it's definitely all worth it in the end. I really hope these steps help you throughout your move, and if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I will try my very best to answer them. Also, thank you so much for all the comments on my previous videos. It's always so great to hear that the videos are helpful and that you enjoy watching them. So thank you so much for all the support. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a like down below. Thank you so much for watching, and then I will see you again in a new video next week.